time together was at the feast celebrating the water walk, the water walkers around Lake Winnipeg this summer. Catherine Morslow-Sinclair and other members of the McKay Society, local people had walked around Lake Winnipeg this summer, offering prayers and ceremony for the water. And so it's fitting that you would speak about water as your contribution to today's discussion. It was a marvelous feast. Food for everyone, hosted by a small community at Manicatagan in their community hall. And so I want to just focus primarily on the context of how we do our spiritual thinking, our theological thinking, and how it has been a problem with the whole history of mission, in my experience, to move away from the anthropocentric focus and including some concept of what it means for God to love the world and to care for the world, including us. I guess what helped me place my theological thinking in some context was listening to Arthur Solomon say in one of his teachings, only human beings have forgotten the original instruction. So I've spent much of my adult life learning from natural experience, from nature. And 2 evenings ago, I walked below our place along Netley Creek, which is now bounded on both sides by 7-foot-tall reeds. And they were just moving with the migrating birds. I think some red-winged blackbirds by the sound of their songs, but many others. The place was just alive, just ringing with the preparations, flight plans, and all those things. And they were together. They were obviously excited. So I learned from that community is possible, and that we've somehow forgotten the potential for building community and planning together, cooperating together. When Keewatin Presbytery was formed some years ago in Manitoba Northwest Ontario Conference, it was interesting to me that I wasn't at the gathering, but somewhere the elders met together, and they determined that their symbol on their crest for the presbytery would be an image of the beaver. I was asked to bring some symbol today, and I brought this young beaver skin because it reminds me of Keewatin's decision that their connection to the natural world would be on their crest, which is a triangular-shaped crest, which they had beaded. They commissioned someone to bead the image of this beaver having felled a tree, sitting there, and their message to us that we must be like beavers, committed, hardworking, in community. So the beaver is the image of our context in Keewatin Presbytery, where I'm a member. I also brought another image because I was told, our symbol, because I was told I could only bring one. I disagreed with that, so I brought a few others. This one's from the Sami people. It's a little pouch from northern Norway, where they are interdependent and they're living with the reindeer, herding of reindeer. And so a friend brought this to me. Inside, I've placed another reminder for me of interdependence and of how we do theology in context. One of the earliest learnings I learned in the lodge was that you pray in the 4 directions, and there are 4 colors. So I'm compulsive now. I go to a beach, and I start looking on the beach. For the first time in my life, I was able to walk the beaches north of San Diego this past spring. And wouldn't you know it, on the beaches near San Diego, they have reddish, black, white, and yellow stones on the same beach. The 4 directions teaching. So I bring those as a reminder to me. I keep doing this because I tend not to be inclusive in my theological thinking. My training, my life tends to close in on me, and so I religiously go out and search for multicolored stones to remind me of how we share life in the natural order. My final point would be that visiting Aboriginal Christians in Australia. The speaker at their gathering said at one point, theology was brought to us as a potted plant. It was set in our land, in the pot, and never allowed to root in the context of our sacred place. So I think generally mission has been of that style, of that approach, whereby potted plants are brought by many people enclosed in a pot of our culture, our values, our expectations for what spirituality will look like and what thinking will be. And that potted plant sits with no possibility of being in the real context of the community. I said it was my final point, but it's not. A friend gave us some seeds and we grew tomatoes that look like plums. And I don't have enough for everyone, but I have some, and people are welcome to have a tomato, because I believe the fruit of the land will help us remember the context. I'm saddened that next week the opening of the Human Rights Museum will be about human rights and not about the sacred waters that flow by it, not about the earth under it. Much of the focus again will be anthropocentric. And I think we lose time and again by failing to understand that human rights, rights of creation, and our connectedness make us poor because of that. I'm going to be leaving these stones in this container, this pouch, for the center. I would like it at some point to be possibly on your worship space as a reminder of our need to consider the possibilities of inclusion and various varieties of life. Miigwech.
Would you like to place it there now?
Thank you. Thank you very much.